It is. Okay, I am reconvening this meeting to open session and calling the regular board meeting to order. Could we have a roll call, please?
Director Sloan. Present. Director Dansel.
Here.
Secretary Yearwood.
Here.
Vice Chair Reyes.
Here.
And Chair Lineback.
Here. And now I would like to announce that there was no reportable action taken during the closed session. At this time, we are going to have a moment of silence.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome to the podium Planning Manager Laura Taylor. After Laura's done speaking, then we will stand for the moment of silence and then keep standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, so Giovanna Biendo is the mother of CRPD's construction inspector, John Biendo, and she passed away on February 10th at the age of 85. John's family lost his father on October 7th of 2021, and John and his family has had much sadness in the past 6 months. Giovanna Biendo was born in Sicily, Italy in 1936 and immigrated to the United States in 1967. Giovanna rooted her family in all things Italian, and her son, John Biendo, is a walking example of her success. So let's begin a half-a-minute moment of silence, and we'll remain standing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Laura. I'd like to welcome to the podium Angel Ball to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. And then following that, General Manager Larkin will say a few words.
I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
So it is my pleasure to introduce Angel Ball, who all of us know as one of our favorite residents of Rancho, Cordova. I asked Angel to send me a little background on her, so I'm going to read what she sent me, which I thought was really true to Angel and a nice story that I wanted to share. So in her words, I grew up here and live here today. I have many memories as a child going to the park to meet friends and play. Rancho Cordova Park, as it was known, had a large 3-story structure. We called it the Crow's Nest, so some of you may remember that. We would climb to the top and see the world. At that time, the world was our neighborhood. In the 90s, we held year after year Labor Day picnics where over 100 people would come to enjoy Federspiel Park and pool. The trees were planted over the last 12 years are making a big difference in the neighborhood park's overall health, beauty, and is an important outcome as to why more people are visiting the park. Today, I'm still a neighbor of Federspiel Park, advocate for new amenities, improvements, and maintenance, and Federspiel Park is creating memories for people of all ages. Federspiel Park makes me smile every time I go by. So Angel and her husband Greg have been amazing. When I first got here, they were one of the first residents that I went out and met with, and they have been real great supporters of Federspiel Park, of the district. I thank them for their advocacy and their support, and thank you for allowing us to honor you this evening.
And I will echo my thanks, Angel. I think you were one of the first members of the public that I met after I got into office. So we're on to board disclosures on action items. Are there any board members with an item to disclose? No? Okay. I do not as well. So we have come to the part of the agenda where we have comments by the public on non-agenda items.
Thank you. Members of the public may address the board on district topics not listed on this agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. It's a violation of state law for the board to discuss or take action on non-agenda items. Board members may only briefly ask clarifying questions or refer the matter to staff. And I do not have any requests at this time.
Okay, thank you. So we move to our consent calendar.
Thank you. Consent calendar items are considered administratively routine and will be acted upon in one motion unless separate action on a specific item is necessary. The chairperson will consider any requests for discussion on the items prior to approval of the consent calendar. This evening, we have 5 items for your consideration. I would like to pull item C1 for a separate vote, please. And also, the board received written public comment on item C3, which has been entered into the record. Thank you.
Does any board member wish to pull any item for discussion on the consent calendar? I will then entertain a motion.
I'll move that I move that we approve consent calendar items C2, C3, C4, and C5 as noted in the packet.
Moved by Vice Chair Reyes,
Second?
second by Director Danzel. Roll call vote, please.
Director Sloan? Aye. Director Danzel?
Aye.
Secretary Yearwood?
Aye.
Vice Chair Reyes?
Aye.
And Chair Lineback?
Aye. And now, if I could have a motion to approve item C1 on the consent calendar?
I recommend that we approve item C1 of the consent calendar.
Moved by Director Danzel and seconded by Director Sloan. Roll call vote, please.
Director Sloan? Aye. Director Danzel?
Aye.
Secretary Yearwood?
Aye.
Vice Chair Reyes?
Abstain.
And Chair Lineback?
Aye. Okay, thank you. So we have come to item D, presentations.
Thank you. Item D1 is a presentation of a grant award from the Sacramento Junior Tennis Fund. And I'd like to welcome to the podium Recreation Supervisor 2, Nina Seiner, to make the presentation.
Okay, yes. So we were awarded an $1,800 grant from the Junior Tennis Fund of Sacramento. And we have some representatives here to present the check. And then Danielle, he has just a couple words he wants to say. Is that?
Of course.
Wonderful. Come on, Matt. What's your first name again?
Matt.
Okay, so Matt's here.
Madam Chair, board members, nice to be here this evening. Matt Zeberg from Sacramento Junior Tennis Fund. We're a nonprofit organization in the Sacramento area that supports youth getting involved in tennis. We're happy to make a big check and a real check to you guys for $1,800 for the Cordova Recreation and Park District to help out kids in their tennis program. We also have a wider reach in the Sacramento region where we support high schools in their tennis programs as well. One of our biggest days of the year, you guys are probably familiar with this, is the Big Day of Giving, which comes up on Cinco de Mayo this year. So we will be on that website and we will be raising funds, and that's where a lot of our charitable contributions come from. Over the past several years, we've given over $30,000 away to junior tennis programs in our region, and we're very delighted to be able to give you guys in this Recreation and Park District an $1,800 check today for your programs.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate the support you're giving the children of this park district.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, it's awesome, thank you.
Yes, we do have an opportunity for a photo with the board at this time.
Thank you.
Plus, we love a big check.
We got a real one, too.
Novelty. Shelby usually goes down to the bank with the big ones.
Matt, you need to get in here too, huh?
Okay.
What am I doing? I want to make sure you don't take it away. My shirt? Yeah. There you go.
Stay right there, Rick, don't move.
Come on in.
One eye's going this way, one eye's going that way. Get in here.
Okay.
You got it? Cut all the heads off. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
We want photos of that.
That's great.
Is that good? Yeah. You guys want that for an Absolutely. So we're gonna do a picture with a certificate of appreciation that we're giving these guys for this generous donation. Awesome. Keep us in mind every year. We need it.
One, two, three. Dialed in. One, two, three.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so
Do you guys need the knowledge?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna choose a dry eraser.
So when she comes in. Turn my phone.
Yeah, I got my cat and the secretary.
Nice.
Okay, so that was a fun break. Thank you so much to the Junior Tennis Fund of Sacramento. And now we move on to our committee reports.
Thank you. Item E1 is a standing committee report for Budget and Finance on February 23rd, 2022.
Okay, Inez, would you like to
Start?
begin the report?
Yes. Chair Lineback, I believe in the packet, we have the agenda. And the discussions were basically regarding the 2021 audit draft, mid-year budget, and the budget philosophies. So I'll go ahead and take care of a couple of them, and then you can take care of the rest. One of the biggest things is our audit. Awesome. It was awesome again. Nothing was, there was no need for any, findings. Thank you. Also, what we had done, it was a very good discussion, everything seemed to be very well. We only made one comment, which is, I'm sure, what the board is we just requested that it be a tad bit earlier and come more like in December so that we would be able to get it, get it through and look it over and then go from there. So appreciate that. The other thing is we had some highlights. And one of the things that was mentioned, and it's real important that we noted, our general fund is nice and healthy. And just note to my board members here that the 1.25 million for the land that was sold is not included in this, in the 2021, because it was deposited later.
Okay, so we also, I'm sorry. We're projecting property taxes to be 6% higher in the coming year, which is, very good for supporting the Park District's programs. And there was a discussion about I'm drawing a blank on the word, the unfunded liability for the CalPERS pension.
Yes.
And so there was some discussion about how to shorten the time period for repaying that unfunded liability. It would save the Park District interest payments to CalPERS, though, of course, it results in a further burden on the, annual budget of the year. So I think we agree with the Park District that it makes some sense to do some acceleration of that, but not to try and pay it all off in 5 years or something, because that would just represent too much of a burden, and we don't get to take advantage of years where there's been changes in the actuarial tables and all this, numbers stuff. But it was a good meeting, and we're always very impressed by the work being done at the district. Certainly all around, but in the finance department. Thank you, Chief Financial Officer Goodell. And now we are moving on to our public hearing, item F1.
Thank you. Item F1 is public hearing number 4, receive public input on draft voting district maps and composition of voting districts, and provide direction on the voting district sequence of elections and final map for a potential transition from at-large to by-district elections for the Board of Directors pursuant to the California Voting Rights Act. And no action is going to be taken by the Board of Directors at this meeting.
Okay, thank you. I am opening this public hearing at 6:50 p.m. And now if we could have the presentation.
Thank you. We're going to get our consultant on the line, and then I'll do a brief presentation on the staff report. Okay, I will present on the staff report, and then we'll work on getting the consultant on the line. So just to note for the public here, the draft maps for this item were published on March 9th. I am going to present on the staff report, and then our consultant is going to review a presentation on 3 revised draft voting district maps. Map 1, 2, and 4 by demography consultant firm Redistricting Insights were adjusted. Map 3 and public submission 1 were not adjusted after the February 16th hearing. The board will accept public input on the draft maps, the composition of voting districts, and the sequence of voting districts up for election. Just one note, Elections Code requires that the board's designation of the sequence of elections be published on the district's website. Direction on a final map at this hearing is also requested in order to submit to Sacramento County for review prior to potential final adoption. The board will then provide direction to the demographer and staff on any changes to the draft voting maps, or if there are no changes, which voting district map the board would desire to implement, and the sequence of the voting districts up for election in 2022. We will also be setting the next public hearing date, and staff recommends that the public hearing number 5 take place at a special board meeting on April 27th, 2022. So with that, I will dial in our consultant.
Hello.
Fabian, hi, this is Danielle Jones.
Hi, Danielle.
Can you hear us okay?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes. We are starting the public hearing, and we have the PDF presentation up on the screen for the public and the board.
Okay.
So we're ready whenever you are.
Okay. Well, evening, public and board. I'm going to start by going through the PDF that you have on the screen. You can already move to, I guess, the second page where it has the District 1 through 5 for draft 1 adjusted, if you would mind, please. I'm going to start by going through these changes. I believe they'll bring up the Google map afterward, and we can talk about, or we can look at it on the page here too, but if you wanted to bring up the Google map afterward to scroll in or zoom in, we can. But first, we're going to go through it in this kind of slideshow setup or PDF setup. A couple minor things I wanted to address. These adjusted drafts, and while I know I took a lot of notes last time I was there, these adjusted drafts are trying to make sense of the notes I was given. Specifically, not splitting Federspiel Park was one of them. Trying to put communities back together. There was some talk about some of the districts being too large and encompassing too much of the kind of larger areas on the eastern section of the entire district. So I just want to make clear, I tried to accommodate all of those notes when doing these adjustments. So drafts 1, 2, and 4 had adjustments to them. Draft 3 did not. So draft 3 you're going to see, and neither did public submission 1, by the way. So draft 3 and public submission 1 are going to look exactly as they did before. Drafts 1, 2, and 4 have made some changes. Lastly, I just want to point out, I do realize that the entire area is the district, and these are divisions within it. I realize the PDF says district, that's just an oversight, but they are the divisions within. And lastly, the numbering. These maps were drawn with, a little bit of an arbitrary stance on the numbering, just because the numbering is going to be decided by the board. So you will be deciding that information when you've approved a map that you want to move forward with. That being said, I do know that there has been some indication that the kind of the original parks area in Rancho Cordova, that there's I think all the board had intimated they wanted that to be kind of the first division, right? And we will indeed be numbering that number 1. In these maps, it's still not numbered that way just because these are, like I said, somewhat arbitrary at the moment. And I just wanted to make sure you knew that I heard about that, and we will be numbering them that way once we get started with the numbering process after a map is chosen. So sorry about my long-winded introduction. So now I'll go through the actual division breakdowns in each of these drafts, starting with draft 1 adjusted. You can see here in this breakout, we have the 1 through 5. The total deviation on this adjusted map is 2%, going from the negative 1.1 District 5 to the 0.9 District 1. You want to move to the next page, please? This will be the overall map. You can see that draft 1 adjusted, I want to point out, had only a couple of minor changes from the draft 1 that you saw last time. specifically the Federsfield Park area was put back, made whole, so to speak, and we'll look at that a little more later. But that area was put back together, so it wasn't splitting the park. And secondly, the area of Mather that was on the eastern side of the airport was split in the old draft one. I put that back together, and instead you can see, hopefully on the map there, you can see that now the district that's Rosemont moves into Rancho, moves into almost towards the Lincoln Village, Rancho Cordova, Palms area. So you can see that moves in a little bit with a little like kind of thumb coming out just above the airport. So that was the changes I made in this draft. Next page. You can see Division 1 here. This is the one where I just mentioned, the Rosemont area, and you can see in the top right, that is the little kind of piece that comes into Rancho Cordova. That was a change. Originally, that kind of was going north-south. The border was going north-south on Bradshaw Road. Now it kind of moves a little bit east of Bradshaw Road and cuts out the area that went around and over to Mather. Next page. You can see now that Division 2 picked up that area, that's south of the airport and east of the airport, and it swapped them for that Rosemont district into this district, or sorry, Rosemont division to this division. Next page. The new Division 3 does not have much change from the last one. I believe actually, I think I kept it the same. I might have made a slight change on this one, I believe, in order to make some of the population work. Originally on the top left section there, where it kind of goes towards Rancho Cordova, the line is kind of a straight on the very eastern boundary. That originally cut in a little more, and I pulled it out to Old Placerville Road. But originally it cut in a little more east of that. So that's the change there. Next page. The Division 4. This one, like I said, I believe this is very similar with the one exception of putting Federsfield Park back together. So it is entirely in Division 4 in this new adjusted version. So it's not split any longer. We go around Zinfandel instead and come around the park so as not to split it. Next page. And then Division 5 is the northeastern area, and this one had very, very small change only around that Federsfield Park area again. Okay, moving to the Draft 2 adjusted. Next page. It should have the breakouts of Draft 2. That's the page you should be on now. So as you can see, Draft 2 has a slightly higher deviation overall, moving from Division 1 to Division 4. A total deviation is 4.4%, but still well under the 10% goal. Next page. Here we can see the overall map. A couple major changes I made in this one to accommodate the board's requests. One is the original Draft 2 was on the western side was splitting La Riviera. We put that back together, and it's no longer splitting La Riviera. Instead, it's using the 50 freeway as the border there. Next, the area that is on the eastern side of the district. Originally, this Draft 2, if you remember, had it kind of coming from south of Rosemont all the way up to the very northeastern section of the entire district. It was like this one large division. We split that, and so now it instead follows a little bit more the line on the the line of White Rock Road, I believe it is. It kind of follows White Rock Road a bit, and gives a good chunk of that area up to the Gold River division, and then the southern portion stays with Mather. And then lastly, this one also had split Federsfield Park, and we put that back together in this map as well. So moving to the next page, please. Division 1. You can see here, this one is this Division 1 in this map is the Mather and south of Mather area. Like I said, we're not now, this is no longer kind of taking that whole large section all the way up to north. It's just kind of grabbing the southern part. It takes Mather, and then it moves up into the villages of Zinfandel, up in the northwestern portion of this division. Next page. Division 2. This one, before it went north into La Riviera, we moved it again over into Rancho Cordova with a little kind of thumb coming over into the eastern portion. Next page. Division 3, this is now the La Riviera district. It moves now up across La Riviera up to 50, and then it moves down south of 50 to grab a little bit of population in Rancho Cordova, and then moves north into the Riverbend Park area. Next page. This Division 4. Again, the real major change in this one from the last version you saw of this was really putting Federspiel Park back together. We did also make a slight change over in the, I guess you'd call it that little jutting section on the southeastern portion of it, of this division. Originally, it was not quite as clean of a line. We just moved the line to Kilgore Road, made a little bit of a cleaner line there, and it also helped with population on that. Next page. And here we have Division 5. This is the Gold River kind of northeastern section. Not much of a change from the last one, other than the fact that it grabs all that area in the southeast of the 50 and kind of takes all that away from that very large division we had before. All right, so I'm going to move to the next one. I just want to double check. Could I get a confirmation from Danielle or Patrick, somebody, that everyone can hear me still and everything's going okay?
Everything's going very well. Thank you. I just wanted to see if we can request that it be made full screen. Matt, is it possible to increase the size? Thank you. Go ahead, Fabian.
Wonderful. So draft 3, I'm going to move through this one a little quicker just because you've seen this draft. No changes were made from the original draft 3 that we showed you. There were no requested amendments to this map. Again, the total deviation on this map, total deviation is 1.7% from Division 1 to Division 2. Next page. We should now be on the full map of draft 3. If not, I think the last page was the breakout, so we should now be on the full map of draft 3. As you can see, this is draft 3. It does have kind of a Rosemont division, a La Riviera division, a kind of central Rancho Cordova, old parts area of Rancho Cordova, the Gold River, northeastern, and then the Mather in the south. Next page. This one, Division 1, is that Gold River division. You can see it. Next page. Division 2, and this one is that Mather South. Next page. Division 3 is the Rosemont area. Next page. Division 4 is the La Riviera moving up to Rancho Cordova. Next page. And Division 5 is that old area of Rancho Cordova. All right, moving on, next page to draft 4. So we should now have the draft 4 breakouts. Draft 4, you can see our total deviation on this one is one of the higher ones. The public submission also has a pretty high deviation, but of the ones that we provided, this is the highest deviation. The total deviation on this map is 7.4%, so it's a little higher. That being said, it's still well under the 10% that you would usually, that you need legally. And also, when we're advising entities on when they're doing districting and redistricting, we advise them to try to stay under 8% as kind of a rule of thumb. Even though you can get all the way to 10, 8% kind of gives you a good buffer. You're still under the 8% with this map draft, so you're still okay with here, and it wouldn't be too bad of a deal if you were to want this map. It's not at all a problem. Next page. Looking at the full map, the major change to this one, I believe the board rather affectionately or unaffectionately called it the wagon wheel before. where we had a division that went Gold River, kind of came all the way south and went down into the southern portion of the Anatolia community and kind of split it. This one also split Rosemont originally. Draft 4 originally split Rosemont, as well as Anatolia and a large kind of wagon wheel, is what it was called. So we endeavored to kind of fix that. I endeavored to fix that, all these little issues in this one. So we came up with this version of Draft 4. It still does keep Gold River intact in the northeastern section, but now it moves kind of following the 50 freeway corridor into Rancho Cordova, and you can see it kind of makes almost like a finger coming down into Rancho Cordova, and it kind of stops at White Rock Road as opposed to moving south of that. And then below that you have the division, which is the Anatolia area, and it moves north and across to the west into Rancho Cordova, taking up population there. Then you have below that you have the Mather and La Riviera. So this one links La Riviera down through Rancho Cordova and into Mather. And then you have the Rosemont, which is Rosemont, but this time instead of moving into Rancho Cordova, it actually picks up a portion of Mather that is west of the airport, the kind of community west of the airport of Mather. And then finally, you also have the, what we call the old town Rancho Cordova area, the kind of what we call Division 1 area, and that is taking all of that part near the American River and then down with the Folsom Boulevard being the border on the kind of that slanted southern border. Next page. So Division 1 here, we should be on the Division 1 Draft 4 adjusted. It says District 1, but it's Division 1. For Draft 4 adjusted, again, this is that kind of Old Town area, takes the river, takes a good portion of Rancho Cordova, and then goes to Folsom Boulevard. Next page. Here is 2. This is that Rosemont area. This takes Rosemont and then grabs, like I said, that east of the, you can see that gray section is Mather Airport. So, sorry, west, the western portion of Mather, west of the Mather Airport. You can see it kind of grabs that community west of Mather Airport, stays out of Rancho Cordova, and then goes underneath Mather Airport. Next page. Division 3, you can see this is the one that takes La Riviera, comes down through Rancho Cordova, grabs the Mather Airport, and then keeps going and grabs the rest of Mather out to the dividing line. I believe that is Sunrise on the eastern border. That's Sunrise Boulevard. Next page. Here's Division 4. Division 4 being the Anatolia area. So it takes all of the Anatolia down to that southern portion and then moves up, following Sunrise up and across the Sunrise into Rancho Cordova. Next page. And finally, Division 5, which is the Gold River, goes all the way to the eastern edge of the district and then also scoots down following the freeway. So this one kind of follows the freeway southwest into Rancho Cordova. Next page. Lastly, Public Submission 1. We, again, didn't make any changes to Public Submission 1, so this would be the same map you saw last time. Just kind of briefly go over it again. This one does have a pretty large deviation. Our total deviation is 9.2%. Next page. You can see the overall map. You have your Rancho Cordova district in the north. You have your Gold River part of Rancho Cordova in the northeast. Then you have the southern district, which is Mather, the Anatolia area and part of Rancho Cordova. Then you have to the west, southwest, you have the Rosemont that moves into kind of up the top portion following the 50 freeway into like the Bradshaw Woods, Lincoln Village area. And then you finally have the La Riviera division, which moves into Rancho Cordova following the freeway. Next page. Again, here's that Division 1 Rosemont one that moves into the Bradshaw Woods, Lincoln Village section. Next page. Their Division 2, this is taking that Cordova Park, that kind of Mills Ranch, all that area up there by the river. Next page. Division 3, this takes Gold River, moves down Sunrise and grabs the area like Villages of Zinfandel on the western part, west of Sunrise, and then also comes all the way down to Douglas Road, where it kind of goes above the Anatolia area, but doesn't grab the Anatolia area. Next page. This is the Division 4, which is Mather, you can see grabs Mather, portion of Rancho Cordova in the north there, and then moves all the way over and grabs Anatolia as well. Next page. And finally, the Division 5, which takes La Riviera, follows the freeway up into Rancho Cordova, grabbing portions of the city there. So that is the entire breakout of all of our maps. I just want to double check one more time. Danielle, did I need to repeat anything? Could everyone hear me okay? Did I break up at any time?
You sounded great the whole time. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, and then I will throw it back to staff for the public comment section.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, this is the time during our public hearing where we will accept public comment and questions.
Thank you. I've confirmed that we've received no public comment request on the customer service email account or the clerk's division email, and I have one speaker card. So I'd like to welcome Faiza to the podium, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Faiza Mughal. I live in Lincoln Village, and my home park is Lincoln Village Community Park. I need you guys to approve Map 4. It's the only one that keeps Lincoln Village intact, and there are a few reasons why that's important to me. First of all, being on the western end of the city, there's confusion because our zip code doesn't match what the main zip code is. Our school district doesn't match what the main school district is. And there's a lot of confusion in the community if whether or not we belong to the city of Rancho Cordova or if we're part of Sac County. Just on the ground, there's always confusion. Having two different park reps would also add to that confusion. Another thing that would happen if we did have separations in Lincoln Village, like I've seen in all the other versions except for Map 4, how do we advocate for each other? In an underrepresented community where there aren't a lot of voices, oftentimes it's myself and like Jim Garcia. Hey, Jim, if you're watching. And so it is up to us to go out and try to represent other folks. If we can't bring them to the table, bring their concerns to the table, it becomes harder for us as community advocates if we're chopped up into pieces and I have to direct other moms to go see a different rep and I can't bring them to my rep. So I would appreciate if our neighborhood boundaries are respected. I don't really mind if I'm part of the Rosemont, just like I don't really care where I end up as long as we're intact. That makes me happy. So that's all I wanted to say today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So if there are no other public comments, I will close this public hearing at 7:15 p.m. And now at this time, our board, if they have any comments or questions, perhaps we can try and start in orderly fashion and just start with Director Sloan.
To clarify the Lincoln Village boundary again that she was talking about. Let's go to version number 2, draft 2, and draft 3. Let's say is the Lincoln Village areas if it was like Old Placerville Road over to Bradshaw and then up, that would be fine. Correct? Right, that encompasses Lincoln Village, right, that's what I thought, okay, that's what I want to know. So, as you know, we had a chance to look at basically focusing on this whole kind of grid breaking up of our district. And finally, I had a chance to focus in more over the month to really look at some of the actual facilities that are going to be in there. And I think it's important that we have a lot of constituents that use the same facilities, that we don't break that up. I think it's important that they have like, and for instance, I'm not sure how many people who live in Rosemont shop at the shopping center where Food for Less. I think it's more of the people who live in the Rancho area, up above in the college, up in the, past the freeway and then come down Bradshaw, they shop there. So I'm advocating, there's a little sliver that keeps showing up in number 2 and number 3 that has put that shopping center into Rosemont. And I think that little sliver, it's a little, if you look at the, looks like, I don't, who's got the arrow? Point that arrow to the, go to the main, the whole breakup of the schematic, that one. Now just go, that little area that's, I need one of the things to shine down. See the Barney district? I call it the Barney district because it looks like Barney, the purple dinosaur. It's the one that has college greens and it goes over to Riverbend Park. And then go down the Rosemont, go down, right there. That little peninsula doesn't make sense to me, does it? Because you look at that, it's just jutting off into it. And a lot of that, it's Lincoln Village, but it's also a lot of commercial property in there. I think my thought is that's Old Placerville Road, and that would be more of a, if you're gonna have a boundary, that Old Placerville Road would go to Bradshaw and then up. Or is it Gothy Road? Goth Road, is G-O? Is it Gady, still Gady? Are you sure? I thought they got rid of that name. Got rid of the park, but that's still Gady. Oh, well, okay, I thought they were gonna change that name to protect the innocent. That would be another one, because it would encompass that whole shopping center on both sides of Old Placerville Road. Keeping that intact for the residents who mostly live up in towards the river area. So I like what you've done here. I'm trying to scroll down on my overall thing so I can see the whole thing again, but I'm leaning towards keeping the integrity of the district. Like, we can go clockwise if people are talking, and we're going from what I think Director Danzel was talking about, the historic district, which is that one area in the middle there by Cordova High, correct? Yes. And it would go, the next one over is gonna be Gold River and beyond to Rio del Oro. And then the next one is Anatolia coming into Mather. The next one would be Rosemont. And the next one would be College Greens and the Brecca and the area and where Riverbend Park is. That makes sense to me. I like that schematic with that little change of that little peninsula becoming, I don't know how many residents live in that little area there, but I just don't like breaking up these communities where we've got an airport right in the middle of our district. And that airport causes a lot of distance between communities. And with that, I think what's happening is you're seeing that Douglas Road has really opened up a thoroughfare for the Mather residents who now are going to go to more amenities that are over in the Anatolia and on Sunrise as the stores start opening up there. And I think that corridor makes sense to me to keep that connected. So those are my thoughts, and I might want to talk again after I hear some more thoughts, but I'll go on to the next board member.
Okay, thank you.
Can I make one? I wanted to answer the question that the board member had. That little jutting area you had asked, or you indicated you didn't know. It's about 2,100 people in that area. Just so
That's not very many people, is it?
I mean, if you're a community of 5, it's a lot. If you're a community of 50,000, it's tiny.
Well, I know, but I mean, I'm saying so you're just taking 2,100 people away from the Rosemont?
Yeah, it's in drafts 1, 2. 3 has a slightly different version of it, but it also juts over a bit into that, especially that food for less area you talk about. So both, all 1, 2, and 3 all do that. And in 1 and 2, it's the same lines. It's northern area, northern boundary is Lincoln Village, southern boundary, Old Placerville. And then,
I'm just telling you, we don't want to create an island, and most of the people living there do not relate to the people who live in Rosemont.
Understood. So
Okay.
yeah, but it's about 2,100 people. So we would, if we were going to move it, we would have to.
I'd be more than
move
welcome
their direction to
to
find
open my arms to them.
Okay.
If you were to move it, what? I'm sorry?
If we were to move it, we would have to find 2,100 people to put into that Rosemont district or division. Sorry. Likely, if we're not moving to La Riviera, likely we would either come out of the western portion of Mather, west of the airport, or kind of coming underneath Mather. I'm not sure exactly how many people live in that area. I can look while the next board member's talking, but we would have to pick up population from somewhere, essentially.
What about in draft 3? Go to draft 3.
So if you look at draft 3 actually does also go into that area. It's not the same kind of push into it, but it does also push into that area. It definitely grabs that food for less.
Well, I'm not seeing draft 3.
It's overlaid. It's overlaid.
It's right there.
Where? How is it overlaid?
There you go. Now you're on draft 3.
Oh, yeah, okay, but now it looks like Rosemont is extended in the southern border.
Draft, are you talking about draft 3?
Yeah.
That's what it's on.
Below
Draft
16.
3.
You've enlarged the Rosemont area.
Well, I'm looking at draft 3.
Hey,
and
Fabian, I think what's going on is we're jumping around here, so we have to be clear. We were just talking about map 2, and now we're changing gears and talking about map 3, so you're not confused.
Yeah, map 3, I'm looking at map 3, and it has Rosemont, and then it also still goes east of Bradshaw Road, grabbing that food for less,
Yes.
grabbing south of Lincoln Village. So it also moves into that area. It just doesn't go all the way to Astral Drive.
But doesn't the southern border, south of Highway 16, that
goes to
wasn't
the
there on a
Jack-
couple other maps?
Yeah, you're right. The south of Jackson, correct? Highway 16, right? That area, come down to Fruit Ridge Road. You're talking about that area there, correct?
Right. I believe,
so
right, isn't there going to be some new housing developments going in there?
Well, I can't speak to that. What I can say is when we're drawing these, we can't use proposed or what will be in the future. We can only use numbers now. And currently in that area, you have about 150 people. So it's not a ton of folks. It wouldn't offset that 2,100. We would likely have to move east of Bradshaw and grab the area, that area of Mather that is east of Bradshaw. If we were going to swap something out, east of Bradshaw, there's I think Goth Road. I know I mispronounced that.
Right.
It's south of Old Placerville, kind of between Old Placerville, Happy Lane, and Bradshaw. There's a community there. We probably have to grab the people in that area.
Once again, you're grabbing areas that really don't have anything in common with Rosemont.
Right. Unfortunately, Rosemont by itself isn't large enough to make a division. So we need to grab population from somewhere. Or we're splitting Rosemont. And I was told by the board we don't want to split Rosemont. So in an effort not to split Rosemont, we need to split other places. And either it will be La Riviera to the north, Rancho Cordova to the east, or Mather to the east. Those are our 3 options in order to make a Rosemont division that is what we call in the right ideal population.
Okay, I'm still advocating for that Old Placerville Road section to be in the.
Certainly, totally understand. And if you mind, can we look at draft 4? This is the version that the woman who spoke at the podium was talking about. This is the one that does not move into that area. 1, 2, and 3 do. Draft 4 does not. And as you see, in order to make the population, I had to grab that area west of the Mather Airport and then kind of move down 16 all the way to Eagle's Nest in order to get enough population to make this division work. But it does do it, and it doesn't grab that population. However, like you said, it's then swapping out for another area.
Is that
which I
right,
think
right where you are now? Go back up there. Go up, over to left, stop, down. That road, is that Old Placerville Road? Yes. Okay. That, so that would be, that encompasses, but what I don't like about this one, zoom out, is you've taken people from Watt Avenue, La Riviera, and then you're incorporating them all the way down into Mather, which that's like two communities there, two separate communities. And that breaks up our wagon wheel, I think. It breaks up our motion. We need other directors to talk.
Director Danzel?
Definitely. So I'll be honest, I've looked at these maps since we got them originally. We've done a great job changing them, I think, for the most part. To me, the two that stand out most to me are Draft 4 and Public Submission 1. Very similar. The one thing, as everybody knows, and it's in the record, I asked for the older parks in Rancho Cordova or in the district to be District 1 and stay together. Both those do that. Those are, I mean, I think those lines are almost identical in Submission 4, and that what I don't like about Public Submission 1 is how it cuts back underneath Highway 16 there. So for me, I like Draft 4 the best because it actually takes that whole area and keeps it together. But that's just my opinion. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you. Vice Chair Yearwood. Did you? Sorry, Secretary Yearwood.
Get out of my seat.
Could you please put a sign on your head?
Well, there's one right out there if you could see it. That means I don't have to sign tonight, right? Well, looking at all of them, and I've looked at maps in the last week or so more than I've ever looked at maps in my life. And I used to work for AAA, so I used to look at maps a lot there. If I was to say, they're not all, I could sit there and move lines here and there on all of them, but I would have to say 4 is probably my preferred one because one, it doesn't divide up Lincoln Village. I do believe that public submission does do that as well to a point. So, but I would say 4 was the only one that I didn't. There was one area I would like to have moved just because I like lines to look cleaner, but I think it would mess the, what's that number? What do you call it? The variance or deviation number too much?
The deviation?
Yeah, it's just where where's that little, oh heck, let me get on my computer here where I can touch the screen to tell you what. So the yellow one, whatever that number is on here. 4, okay. See how there's that little, where there's that dip down where that little comes out into the purple or whatever that color is.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, a lot where it looks like, it dips down Highway 50, south of Highway 50.
Right. So that is actually just, all that is the kind of the Rancho Cordova City District, or city line. So we could move that line to White Rock Road.
Yeah, I just don't know if that would mess your numbers up for the.
No, it's like 30 people in there.
Are you sure about that?
At all.
Can you zoom in?
Yeah, that little spot that's just between that dip down and White Rock Road, I think it's very, very empty in that area. So if we were to make it White Rock Road be the kind of northern boundary of that Division 4 or the yellow one, it wouldn't change any deviation markedly.
Hold on, let me look at something here real quick on this. I think that 30 can't be right because there is a small subdivision in there called California Jazz.
Are we looking at the area that is just south of White Rock Road?
Correct.
Yeah,
see on the map where it says California Jazz? That's a little small infill subdivision that has probably 30 or 40 houses in it. So.
California Jazz. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the eastern dip, not the western.
Yeah.
Sorry. I
Okay.
was looking at the eastern section over there. Yes, okay, that area south of White Rock on the western section, I'm sorry. My
Okay.
apologies for not understanding. That particular area, okay, that one, yeah, that probably has a little more population.
Yeah, and there's also
I
an
could,
apartment
if you give me a
complex
second,
in
I
there.
can find out here. I have roughly population in there. It's roughly, I think,
Oh,
see, that is, oh yeah, it's
it's like
26,
it's
36.
5,000 people. No,
Yeah, it's about 5,000 people roughly.
no, there's no way
So
it's
it's quite a
5,000.
large chunk.
There's a large
Well,
apartment
40
complex in there.
There's 1,300, 1,700, and
Oh,
then
you're right.
a
Oh,
little
I'm
bit
sorry. I
more.
thought the one line was data. I didn't realize data. Oh, yeah, there's like 5 apartment complexes over that are ginormous. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in that area.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I just like nice little, flowing lines. I
Sure,
could,
totally
but
get it.
4 would definitely be my one that I think we could do with in my opinion, didn't need to be changed. So that's all I got.
Secretary Reyes? No, I got demoted. All right, these maps are driving us crazy here. And this is my first time joining a group here on the maps and in our public thing. And you make a good point about not splitting out communities. Most especially, I think the Lincoln Village community is a pretty much tight community, and I think it really, I see the value in that. For my sake, on looking at these maps, I wanted a little more clear lines, because all these little slivers here and slivers there, it can be very confusing. You can probably have a neighbor that's on one sliver and you're on the other side of the sliver. And so I liked the draft number 2, okay? Obviously, one of the things, because you can see it clearly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're nice and clear, nothing is, the only thing is, I do understand if there's a way by which we can address that thumb that sticks out or so. There, yeah. If there's a way we can address that to kind of straighten it up a bit, or, see to it that it does not cut off the community of Lincoln Village, that would be something that I found a lot more simpler, very clear, very clean. I did also see that in draft number 3, that was also pretty much the point there, being able to clearly see the lines that separate one district from another. And that, to me, I thought was attractive part here. Because when you go through some of the lines that have almost like a knife
Yeah,
cut, it's just so,
broken up.
it's just hard. It's broken off, and it's really hard to really have to get the community to understand what district they belong to, okay? But I'm understanding the comments, and I'm wondering if you can make any changes to draft 2 and find 2,100 other people to be able to make that happen.
Or 3.
Those are the ones I thought,
Or
you know.
3. 3 is very similar, I think.
Yeah, 2 or 3, yes, where it does say that, if they could only have done something there. That's all for now.
Okay, just to let you know, I was doing somebody's taxes the other day, Rick, who lives in Rosemont, and they asked me if I'd been to the Food for Less yet. Just so
Have
you
you?
know.
Have you?
I have not.
I didn't think so. No, it doesn't make sense to do that,
Well,
unless
because-
they have a sale at artichokes. They were $1 each, so
No,
I would
because-
go there for those.
Because it is a discount food store. In fact, it is, not that that's a reason to move a boundary line, but they do shop there from Rosemont. I am not concerned about jagged lines, to be truthful, because no matter how straight a line you draw, at some point, you're going to have one neighbor on one side of the line and another neighbor on the other side of the line. I do think some of the jaggedness might be due to trying to conform to precinct maps and things of that sort to help them, put out the voter guides. I prefer draft 4, and because it keeps Rosemont together, well, all of them keep Rosemont together, and if that's the only one that keeps Lincoln Village together, and there aren't other maps that divide other communities in a bad way, then I don't see why we wouldn't, take the map that keeps communities together in throughout the entire district. And I think that's important, to keep communities that have a community identity know where they can go to speak to their particular director. So I'm leaning towards map 4, and I'm really, to be truthful, I don't care about the lines at all. Is that a terrible thing to say? So I didn't really drill into an exact street. And so I was more concerned with the cohesiveness of the communities. Well, that's my comment and my preference. Now, in order to, because we've sort of gone in a row, would any director like to address something that's been said since they spoke last? If you wish.
This is it's like a board game. Well, roll the dice, what comes up, Well, I'm looking at that, are we on 4? Is that the one we're on right now? And that keeps, that's got Lincoln Village intact.
It's got Fetters intact.
Does that got the senior center in there too? So I guess the only thing is I've got an airport, and it would be, there's an airport in the middle of that. So you've got, I might be able to vote on that. I'm just not gonna commit yet till I hear from other people, but zoom out, let's see someone here.
And we're not taking a vote today, by the way.
Right, but I'm just saying, we're supposed to give direction, and I wanted to know if it's the direction. So the only thing that I think is kind of weird, since you are expanding communities into other areas, which I guess is not a bad thing, but it does sort of, let me also reiterate, if someone sees one of us, a director on the streets, and they go, oh, that's not my director, that doesn't mean you can't talk to us, because we're representing the whole district. We're here for you guys, and I don't want you to think that there's something wrong with your park and you can't talk to either one of us. We're all working for you. You are all our bosses, not just the people who are going to be voting in that one area. Okay, just to let you guys know, that's my. So, looking at the one that really looks strange to me is that the way that purple nose or whatever it is, I don't know, that could be a fish tail. That could be a whale swimming, and jumping out of the water. And the fish tail that goes from Gold River and all the way out to, I guess, is that Rio de Oro? Way out there? All the way the far east tip of the whale's nose? That's all. That's as far as that's our boundary, right? Up, yeah. So
that's Prairie City.
Right, now go left towards the tail. The tail keeps going and going and going and into the middle of the Rancho. So that's
it goes all the way Rotier.
Yeah, that's sort of strange to me that it encompasses that little area. But I guess you had to pull out because I can see that's a highly populated area. And there's a lot of non-population in that, in the other area, yeah. Okay, well, it's okay, when you do stuff like that, it still unites us as, you know, it's still gonna have, you know, a director is gonna have a lot of more territory to cover, and that's fine, it's good exercise, right? All right, Danzel, go.
Director Danzel?
I've got my own title tonight, director, and that's it. That's where I'd like to stay. Thank you. I don't have any other comments. I've listened to everybody. Like I said, I'm happy with map 4 and how it got readjusted, and I'm okay with it. Thank you.
Secretary Yearwood?
Yeah, I don't really have, I agree with you, you know, lines, though, you know, I like nice lines, but we could sit here and, you know, move lines all night. This one, map 4 to me again is a good, I think is a good map, so. I also like one of the reasons I like this map is even though it does kind of extend out what I guess we would, for lack of one, call maybe the Rosemont district and whatever that middle one is that has Mather in it, it encompasses some of the areas that will eventually be developed, even though I know we can't take that into consideration. It by this one kind of helps that.
It'll be redistricted in 10
Yeah,
years.
and that'll be here before we know it. But so
And a lot of us won't be here. Maybe.
Got to put down the foundation.
yeah, so but no, I like map 4. That would be my preference because I don't think we really need to do anything to that one.
Vice Chair Reyes?
No other comment. I think map 4 doesn't, it's not totally. I mean, these other ones that just have so many little things. It's okay. We'll see. What else? If there's any
Okay.
adjustment he can do to the others. Otherwise, this seems to cover.
So it looks like there's at least enough of a consensus to
Narrow it down.
give
for the
direction,
map.
go forward with map 4. And also the numbering,
Well, before we move on with that, so we would recommend
Fabian.
to go in the direction with using map 4 as it exists, or are there any adjustments that the board is asking for Fabian to make prior to it being final? We're good as is?
Yeah.
Okay, then the next
Let
direction
me
would,
just say something. You know, where the boundaries of, on the top part of that to the left, go where there's a champagne glass or a martini glass to the left, right there. The boundary, go up to the river boundary there, no down. The northern boundary of that part, it ends, I'm trying to figure out, does that end?
No. Go back there. Watt Avenue. Watt Avenue.
No, this part, that's what but to the right side. Before it gets into Riverbend Park, where is that? What is that right there, up right in that area? Are those,
It's
oh, so that's basically,
right now. It's that dead area. I mean, that's where
Right.
that ranch is.
there's not much public access there at all.
not at this time.
So what the issue I see there is just losing that public area going into Riverbend like they had in number 3. I like the fact that you're focusing on the area closest to the river. And, but that's okay. Nothing I can do about it. I'm hearing consensus.
Okay, so we also need to give some direction. It won't be a vote, but regarding the numbering of the new districts. And I think that we all agree that it should start with the old part of the district. District 1.
Matt, can you bring up the map, please, like for us to see the bigger map 4, which is moving forward? Thank you.
So the pink area would be 1. And then, I mean, I have no objection to going clockwise at that point. Does anybody else have a different idea about how to number?
Are they now 1, 2?
So 1 and then the gold.
We can go counterclockwise if you like.
No, clockwise.
Okay, so
Just
clockwise,
to be clear, am I hearing Division 1 being the, what, in the draft 4 adjusted, that pink version, that pink one?
yep,
So Division 2 would be the Gold River kind of purple?
yes,
Got it. And then 3 would be the yellow,
Yep.
4 would be the green,
yep,
4 would be the green, 5 would be the blue?
yep.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure I heard it correctly.
Okay. Was there anything else we needed to accomplish tonight?
Great job. I think that was great.
Okay,
So.
We have to receive direction on the sequence of elections.
okay. Well, let me see. 1, 2, and 5? 1, 2, and 5.
Yep.
For 2022.
For 2022, yeah. Okay, I think we have finished with this item. Phew, that was
Thank you,
intense.
Fabian.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Fabian.
so one just clarification, I'll be working with staff to make sure that there was no direction given to changing any of the lines in draft 4, but there was direction given to the numbering. So what I will do is I'll work with staff to make sure I provide a version of draft 4 with the correct numbering for you to be able to vote on the next meeting. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, and that would be that map with the correct division numbers would be published
For the final map.
for the final hearing? Okay. Will the other maps be there as well, or just the one?
We've been keeping all of the old maps as we've gone along so people can reference back if they like.
Okay, all right.
Right.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. That was productive.
Thank you, Fabian. We're going to hang up now.
Okay, well, have a good evening, everybody, and thank you very much.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Thank you.
Angela, you got the best of it.
So now we're going to move on to the regular calendar, item G1.
Thank you. Item G1 is to accept the independent auditor's report and financial statements for fiscal year 2020, 2021 as presented. And I'll turn it over to CFO Goodell.
All right, good evening. Very pleased with the results of this audit. I think every year we improve in our financial position, and this audit shows that. And so I am very pleased with where we're headed with our reserves and everything. We do have our auditor in the audience. We have Brett Jones, and if he wants to say some independent comments. But otherwise, yeah, overall, I'm very pleased with the audit itself.
Thank you, Matt. I'll be pretty brief. As Matt mentioned, my name is Brett Jones. I'm the engagement manager on the audit this year. As Matt mentioned and Chairperson Reyes mentioned, the audit went very well this year. We issued an unmodified opinion, which is the highest opinion that we can give, so that's really great. In addition to the report we issued, we also issued our communications letter to the board. This is just kind of our standard letter that we give to the board. It just kind of outlines our role in the audit and management's role in the audit. And if there's any difficulties we had, they would be in this letter. And we're pleased to report that we don't have anything to report. No material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies, and no reportable items. We just had one informational item. We had one material adjusting journal entry. This is a journal entry we do every year to record the GASB 68 adjustments. That's for the net pension liability. The timing with that is always really difficult. We get the information to do that adjustment after we've already started the audit. So we help Matt and his staff just prepare that adjustment. And because it's usually a material amount, we just have to put it in the letter as just an informational item.
Does that come from PERS?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Director Sloan?
No question.
None, ma'am.
Director Danville? Secretary Yearwood?
I have none.
Vice Chair Reyes?
None?
Okay, well, it looks like you have a very clean audit here. Yeah, I have no questions either, and other than to congratulate you and Matt and the district staff. I mean, I'm sort of over the moon these days about how well, okay, thank you, how well the district is doing financially. You're taking very good care of the public's resources here, and we appreciate that very much. Now we need to make a motion to accept this.
Chair Lineback, I would like to make a motion to accept the independent auditor's report and financial statements for fiscal year 2020, 2021 as presented.
Thank you. Motion by Vice Chair Reyes.
Second?
Second by Director Danzel. Roll call vote, please.
Director Sloan,
Aye.
Dr. Danzel,
Aye.
Secretary Yearwood,
Aye.
Vice Chair Reyes,
Aye.
and Chair Lineback.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Brett, for sticking it out tonight. Appreciate it.
We'll see you next year. Sounds good.
So now we're moving on to Board of Directors items, item H1, board member reports. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the relevant part of the board package. I've completely lost the board package here. Crap.
We had no training in the last period.
Thank you.
So the next item is board member reports.
Thank goodness I'm last. Director Sloan?
Wait, I got visions of maps in my eyes still. Just see everything in different colors here, so. Okay, let's go. February 22nd, I attended the BRECA Zoom meeting. And basically, you already know that I think you've heard a number of times and it's in our packet that we're having the Easter egg hunt at Riviera East Park on the 16th, which is the Saturday before Easter. Okay, that's the week, next week after the one, Hoppin' and Hagen. March 10th, I attended with two of my fellow directors, one the secretary, the CAPRCBM Awards Banquet. And at Scott's Seafood, it was very nice. We got a nice crystal plaque that I thought we were going to get presented to us later on.
Right here, we're going to do a photo op after the meeting.
Okay, we're doing a photo op after the meeting. It was a very nice it was quaint. It was very quaint. And I'm very proud of our organization in winning that award. So it's another feather in our cap. On March 11th, I don't have it, I didn't mention that, but I did attend the Rancho Cordova Volunteer Awards here at City Hall. And I was nice to see Carol Kraus accept the award for outstanding service to youth and for her role in the Cordova Blue Marlins. And our hidden gems, Cheryl and Lou Meyer. Yeah, I guess that duo is unbelievable what they've volunteered and have given to the community with his woodworking and her quilting. On March 12th, I didn't mention this either, but I did attend the Rancho Cordova Little League Opening Day ceremonies. And that took place on Saturday morning. And it was very kind of a quick ceremony, and they got under, a lot of kids. 490 kids are playing Little League and 42 teams. Ages 4 to 14. If you can imagine that, a 4-year-old playing baseball. If you've ever been to Nimbus Dam and you've fed the fish that are in you throw the food out and all the fish go like that, when the ball's hit in the outfield, the same thing happens. So it was fun, and I highly recommend you guys on a Saturday going out to, it's right by Alstrom Park in the Little League. It's near Cordova Lane. elementary school, and it's grab a hot dog, watch a little baseball. And I think that's all for me. That's all she wrote. Thank you.
Director Danzo.
So I've got a couple things. I've got the alphabet soup dinner that I also went to with Secretary Yearwood, Director Sloan, myself, and General Manager Larkin. We went to that. And then the other thing is my 65-page document for today for CARPD. Lots of legislation coming, watching, things like that. Conference is coming in the end of May. Was informed today that open nominations will be sent to the clerk probably early next week. So if anybody wants to try and jump on that, great. Those will be open till May 13th. It's the date that they picked today. I spoke with General Manager Larkin the other day about possibly there are awards within that organization for community members. So I did ask him the other night if there's any community members that he thought did outstanding things for the district. And so he said he would look into that, so I was satisfied with that answer. A couple of legislations that are coming through that CARPD is watching. AB 1795 and 1944, they both have to do with how meetings are run. Currently, in the state of emergency, we are allowed to have Zoom meetings, things like that. And so what the state has figured out is that it gives the public access to, if they can Zoom and be part of these meetings or teleconference, it gives them more of an opportunity to live their lives and not sit in a meeting for 3 or 4 hours waiting to figure out what's going on. So that is one of the things that's being asked right now in AB 1795. And then AB 1944, outside of a state of emergency, there is a way, if one of us had to be gone for some reason, but still wanted to teleconference in, we could. But if we were in a hotel room, we'd actually have to post the agenda outside our hotel room. We would have to invite guests that could be part of our community into our hotel room so they could be part of that. They're trying to get rid of that part, that for safety's sakes, for all sorts of things. But that's something that they're actually looking at, is that and I guess in our meeting today, we were laughing about, in the Bay Area, there was a director of not a park district, but one of the districts, who during COVID moved to London and was telecommuting and doing all their things via Zoom while they were in London because it was safer for them to be there. Because of the state of emergency, they were allowed to do it till somebody found out. And then it went, wait, you're not representing your district if you're not even living in the country for that amount of period. So obviously that's not what they want, but they want us to be able to have that freedom that if we do for some crazy reason, you could, once every great while. Another one is AB 1993. It's a vaccination one. I don't want to get into the whole what it actually is and the ugliness of the 42 pages that I got on it, but it's just talking about how employees need to be vaccinated to work in the state of California. Every employee, if you're going to work in the state of California, they want you to be vaccinated. So that's obviously, it picked up ground. Now that things are starting to go back normal, it seemed what our legislative people have told us, it's kind of dying off, but it's still there. They are proposing legislator of the year for this upcoming conference, something we have not done in the past. The people that they've selected as of right now all look like they're up for a re-election in their respective areas. Awards, I did talk to General Manager Larkin about that. April 7th is the date on that we need to have that submission in if we're going to do that. May 13th for the board member if they choose to run. Not much else than that. It was actually a quite short meeting this time. It was only just over 2 hours, which was nice, but the 40-minute drive there, the 40-minute drive back wasn't, I got there and then the Matt told me, oh, well, a couple other members, they couldn't make it today, so we're going to Zoom with them. I'm like, I could have saved money on gas. I could have saved money on gas. So, but I mean, I've got colleagues on that board that fly up from Southern California, so, and drive from the Bay Area. So I figured my 40-minute drive is nothing from somebody who's driving from the Bay Area or from Paradise down. So I can drive 40 minutes, and I'd much rather sit in, like I am here, with my colleagues than see people on Zoom. That's just not something I like to do, and I don't think most of us do, but some do. My daughter would definitely rather sit at home and watch a screen and talk to her friends that way than be in a classroom any day of the week. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Secretary Yearwood.
Yes, I too also went to the Caprism Awards dinner with directors Sloan, Danzel, and General Manager Larkin. It's always nice to go somewhere we're getting awards, acknowledged, recognition for our beautiful new, especially in this case, our beautiful new pool complex. So it was unusual because we were literally in a restaurant in the back in a corner, and it was, but other than that, it was nice to get out and to go to something like that. I do have to report the cat did not come back, but we did have a guy with a light on his head. But anyways, that's all I got.
Okay, that mysterious comment will remain unnoticed. Vice Chair Reyes.
Chair Lineback, I don't have any additional meetings that I submitted in for. I did serve and represent our district at the CRPD, which is where we received an award. And it's a quite far spread out team. I know, but challenging.
He said, "Where's Inez? We want Inez back." So we put you up for it.
So anyway, I'm glad that we got another award. And there's a lot of good sports, our parks, and all very deserving of these awards. So that's all my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. And I attended a good deal of the PMRID Oversight Committee meeting on February 23rd. And, they were being given overviews of the capital projects, and they also elected their new officers. I forget the name of the new president. Do you recall her name?
Bonnie was reelected chair, and then Lexi Hallam was elected vice chair.
I thought it was the other way around. Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah. And then just as an aside, I attended the St. Patrick's Day dinner at the Neil Orchard Senior Center today, and it was a very nice event, and I wore my green cat to that event. So, and had a nice corned beef and cabbage lunch. Yeah, so thank you. Okay, now I think we come to comments by staff on non-agenda items. Item I-1.
Thank you. Item I-1 is the district-wide monthly progress report for March, and I'll turn it over to General Manager Larkin.
Good evening again, everyone. So some highlights from the past month. I will be playing the role of Jill Nuns as well. She is at a training for management of revenue and fee schedules, and a lot of great tools she'll be bringing back to the district. I participated in a Pro Youth and Families program that they hosted here at City Hall for teenagers that were really interested in public service. So I had an opportunity to sit on a panel with some other community leaders, and they interviewed us, and they were very engaged. I try to recruit some of them for our summer camp programs, and so we might be able to use some of those kids and have their first work experience with us, which was exciting. We did receive a state award, the CPRS State Award, for the 2021 Award of Excellence for the Cordova Community Pool, Excellence in Design, and that is a very prestigious award. It's a highly competitive state award, and we'll have the president of CPRS joining us on our April meeting to present that award to our board. Again, I attended that award ceremony for CAPRCBM. This is the actual award itself. It was for the 2021 Outstanding Project Award presented to us for the Restoring and Fixture in the Community for the Cordova Community Project. So we'll be taking a photo of this with the board after our meeting this evening. So it was a really nice event. It was smaller. It wasn't in a kind of a secluded room, but it was kind of really close to when COVID kind of came back. And so they did a really nice job for what the circumstances they had to deal with. So it was a nice honor. We also, moving to Jill's area, we on, our hard copy recreation guides will be coming out at the end of the month. The virtual guides will continue as we move forward with both opportunities for residents to either register and get the information online and or mail to them going forward. So the cost of some mailings have gone up like everything else. And so we're fortunate to be working with our foundation in order to get those costs at that nonprofit rate, which is helpful for us for sure. So those should be coming in the mail to you, and most likely early April, most likely they'll be landing in your mailboxes. Or sooner. Shelby's on it. The golf course is doing phenomenal as the weather has held out. There hasn't been very much rain, but that is good news for the golf course, right? Maybe not so good for the grass, but good for the golf course. They had a revenue increase of 23% over last year for the month, which is incredible, really. The netting project is still in the permitting process with Sacramento County. And so we are hoping that that will be completed within the next couple weeks here, and we can get that installed and ready to roll for our spring golfing. We also received that grant from Golden State Water Company to go towards our hideout program. So the kids all gathered together, had their wish list, and they ended up purchasing some Xbox 360s with some new consoles and games, and so they're super happy with being able to use that donated money for improvements at the hideout after-school program. We also, in addition to the tennis grant that we received this evening, we also received USA Softball of Sacramento grant for $1,500. And the grant will go towards it'll be used to put out on the outfields the distance markers for all the synthetic fields on the softball fields at Mather. So Jill's dream was to someday have these marker distance signs on the back fence, and now she's gonna have her dream come true. So, and Nina, I'm sure you're excited about that as well. So that's pretty awesome that we get to install those. Our facility rentals are upticking. Now that spring is here, picnic rentals are becoming available. Our summer swim class registration opened 2 Mondays ago, and we're off and running with that. We are struggling a little bit with recruitment, but we're optimistic that we will get what we need and then some for us to offer what we typically offer every summer. There's a big convention coming that you all should be prepared for and mark your calendars. So for May 20th through the 22nd, I know we'll be at conference, but we'll be back for that weekend. It will be the California Mermaid Convention is being held at the Cordova Community Pool. This is the longest running mermaid event on the West Coast. So for more information, there is a website there available to you. This is a paid event. It is actually being promoted with Visit Rancho Cordova, and it's going to be a kind of a tourist attraction. So if you're interested in swimming with the mermaids, go check it out at the Cordova Community Pool the weekend of May 20th through the 22nd.
Shouldn't it be mer person?
In this case, they're labeling it Mermaid for now. So check that out. There's a website there for you guys. If you're interested in purchasing tickets or getting comped tickets, just let us know, and we'll see if we can work that out with them. We're installing some new lighting at Mather Sports Complex, which will help us see. And of course, reminder that we have Hoppin' and Hunting that's back in person. It's not a drive-through like the last couple COVID years, so we're excited to offer that event again. and it will be April 9th from 8:30 to 11:30 in the morning. And then again, sponsored by the Brecca Group, the Riviera East Community Park Easter egg hunt will be Saturday, April 16th at 10 a.m. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. So we move on to item J, the informational items.
Thank you. J1 is our articles, correspondence, and public outreach. I included the minutes copies from the PMRD Oversight Committee that was just approved at the last meeting, and the newsletter, and our calendar.
So we have come to the end of our agenda, so I'm going to be adjourning this to the next regular Board of Directors meeting on Wednesday, April 20th at 6:30 p.m. The time is 8:11 p.m.
Thank you for your attendance. Photo op.
Photo op.